guys, welcome back to my channel. So today is going to be the start of a reading vlog. Over the summer, I did a vlog challenge where I read 100 pages every single day, and it worked out really well for me. But since then, I have fallen out of the habit of doing that, and I really go through phases where I either read an entire book or multiple books in one day, or I don't pick up anything for like a week. So I decided to do that challenge again. For the rest of this week, I will be reading at least 100 pages every day and just trying to get a lot of reading done, trying to start up a habit again of reading consistently every single day. So let me show you guys what I have on my TBR and we could pick out what to read. So here are the books on my December TBR. These two right here, I think I'm gonna be reading for other videos. So these are the ones that I'm gonna be choosing from and trying to read in this vlog. I think I'm gonna start with A Curious Beginning by Diana Raybourn. This is going to be a reread. I talk about this series all the time. It's one of my favorites, and this is the first book in the series. These are Victorian murder mysteries, and it is just like one of the best series that I read. It is so much fun, and it gives me like all the warm fuzzy vibes, which is exactly what I want right now. So to help me track all of my reading this week, I am going to be using an app called Basmo, who is actually the sponsor of today's video. So Basmo is this amazing reading app where you can set yearly goals, track your reading time, schedule specific reading sessions, and it will send you notifications. And they have a lot of other features which I will show you throughout this week, because I'm going to be using this app to schedule reading sessions every day so that I make sure I can hit my 100 pages a day goal. So I set my yearly goal on the Basmo app at 150, and I'm currently at, I think, 126 books read, and according to the app, it says that I just need to read 5 books every week from now until the end of the year to complete my goal, which I think is doable. And it also says that I need to read at least 30 minutes every day to conquer my goal, which is very doable. I like that it kind of breaks up your goal like that in terms of how many books a week and how many minutes a day. Because I feel like when you think, oh, 25 books in the next 5 weeks, that's a lot. But when it breaks it down even smaller than that to just saying like 30 minutes a day, that seems so much more manageable. All right, so I'm going to start my first reading session with A Curious Beginning. So whenever you start a reading session, it starts a timer, and then while you're reading, you can type in quick little notes or quotes or anything that you want to remember. So I'm gonna start this first session and we'll see how for 30 minutes, and I have read up to page 63. So that was a pretty good session. I really love this portion of the book. I think I read these back in 2017, so it's been a while since I read this series, and I'm just like already so happy. Like the amount of joy that I am feeling being back with these characters is amazing. In its first couple pages, a lot happened. So basically the setup of this first book is that Veronica Stoker is this lepidopterist, meaning that she studies butterflies. And at the start of the book, she is attacked. Someone breaks into her home and like ransacks the place, and then she runs into the intruder and he tries to abduct her. But she is saved at the last second by this man that she doesn't know. And he basically tells her that she's in danger and she needs to come with him to London so that he can keep her safe. So she kind of just uses him as like a free ride to London, and she goes with him and he brings her to his friend's place, who is this natural historian named Stoker, because he thinks that that is like the one safe place for her. So he has her stay there until he can come back for her. But before he's able to come back for her, he ends up dead. So now her and Stoker are sort of like reluctantly forced together, not only in trying to solve the murder of their mutual friend, but also they're the suspects. So they're trying to solve it, and then they're also going on the run. Already, like with their first meeting, the banter is so good. Like that's the best part of this series, is their banter, and I love it so much. But I'm also realizing that I completely forgot what Stoker looked like. I don't know if like it just erased from my mind, or the last time that I read this I wasn't paying that close attention, but like she describes him as, she says that he has tattoos all across his back and down his arms. Did not remember that. He also has long hair, a beard, he wears an eye patch. That totally slipped my mind, that he wears an eye patch and he has like a scar going across his eye. Like, he's hot, he's hot. And she mentions it a lot, that he's very hot. So I don't know, like I just completely forgot all of that. So the spot that I stopped at, they're about to leave on whatever journey they're going. Veronica doesn't know where Stoker is taking her, but he's taking her somewhere safe and off the grid because they're now the suspects of this murder. But I'm really excited because my memories are starting to come back to me, and I think that they are headed to a traveling circus, and that's where they're gonna hide out, and I'm so excited. I'm just loving this. I'm having a great time. I was a little bit nervous reading this again after so many years because this has been like a series that I uphold as one of my favorites, and I was worried that I wouldn't love it as much this time, but I think that I'm even loving it more, which is just the best. It's the perfect outcome. So I'm gonna start another reading session. Like I said, I've read I've read 63 pages, so I only have like, what, 38 more that I need to read before I hit today's count, and I feel like I can do that in a breeze. So something cool about this app is that, like I said, you can schedule specific reading time, and you can set reminders so your phone will remind you when it's time to have a reading session. So I think I'm gonna schedule some for the next 4 days at like 1 o'clock because I really like to read while I have lunch. So now I will be reminded every day to do some reading while I'm having lunch. Read for another 15 minutes, and I'm now on page 100, and this is like my favorite part of the book, and I totally forgot about this, but like I said, they're at a traveling circus, but they have to pretend to be a married couple. Like, come on, this book is amazing. So at this point, I'll stop talking about plot stuff in this book, but literally like everything about this book I am loving, and I'm definitely loving it more this time than the first time. I feel like the first time I read this, I gave it 4 stars. I already know that this is gonna be 5 stars. I just know it is. This book is like perfection to me, and I'm just having the best time. So I've already hit my 100 pages, and I definitely feel like I can finish this whole book today, so I'm just gonna keep reading, doing more sessions. I think breaking this up into like smaller reading sessions is definitely helping me read a lot. So today I basically finished A Curious Beginning. I did one like really long hour-and-a-half reading session today, and I managed to finish it. So not only did I hit my 100 pages for yesterday, I hit them for today because I read, let's see, I think I read 200 pages today at least. And I love this so much. I think that upon rereading it, this is probably my all-time favorite book. It just had everything that I love. Murder mystery, a Victorian London setting, rivals with the best banter. They go to a traveling circus, they're pretending to be married, it has the only one bed trope. Like, this book just has everything. I love it. I feel like this is such a comfort read for me. And Veronica and Stoker are probably like some of my all-time favorite characters ever, and their chemistry is just unmatched. I just love them. I love them so much. I'm just so excited to continue on and keep rereading this series. After having just like a really bad month of November. This is exactly what I needed to make me feel better. But today I think I'm going to be starting 2 new books, so let me go grab them. The 2 books that I'm gonna start today are the second book in the Veronica Speedwell series called A Perilous Undertaking. I do not remember at all what the mystery in this book is. I think that's the main thing that I really have no memory of, is like what any of the mysteries are. So I feel like that's gonna lend to like maybe a better rereading experience because I will still be surprised. But I have this one on audio, so this is the audiobook that I'm gonna be listening to today. And then I have The Girl Who Knew Too Much by Tiffany Brooks. This is an ARC that comes out in January, so this will be the physical book that I'm reading today. This is a YA thriller about this reality show where a bunch of teenagers are dropped on this island, kind of like Survivor, and they're competing for $1 million, but then there start to be a bunch of accidents and things aren't exactly what they seem. It sounds like it's gonna be really fun, so I feel like these are both gonna be really great reads for today. I think I'm gonna start with this one since I'm physically reading it, and I will do a little reading session and see how much of this I can get read. But like I said, I already hit my 100 pages for today, so everything else I'm reading is just kind of extra. I just read for like 15 minutes and I got to page 20, and the introduction to this was really interesting so far. Also, the main character is named Riley and it's spelled the same way as me. I am trying to think if I've ever read about a main character who has the same name as me, and I can't remember that I have, so that's cool. So basically there's a lot more to this plot than I thought going into it, because aside from it being like this reality competition with all these teenagers and they're dropped on this island to compete for this $1 million prize, there's also this like secret competition going on where there is a buried treasure on this island from like centuries ago. There's like a myth that the Spanish had left this buried treasure of all this gold there, and the main character Riley comes from a family of like people who have been trying to find this treasure. Her godfather was murdered on the island that they're going to a couple years prior while they were there looking for the treasure. So she's now using this reality show as like a cover to go back to the island and try to find the treasure. So that's like really interesting. So it's kind of like a mixture of like Survivor and like maybe Outer Banks. I don't know, that was like the treasure aspect to this wasn't something that I really knew about going into it, and I'm really loving that. I love treasure hunts. So I'm just excited. This was like a cool first couple of chapters, and I like that she kind of has secrets going into this game and ulterior motives as opposed to like just being a contestant on a reality show. She's like there for other reasons. So I definitely think that I'm gonna read this book a little bit slower because I am reading it physically, and I just read a lot slower when I read physical books because my eyesight isn't great. So I think I'm gonna do one more quick session of this, and then I'm gonna switch to the audiobook of A Perilous Undertaking. I'm loving this book. I'm already 100 pages into it. The audiobooks for this series go by so fast. Like I literally sit here reading for 30 minutes and I'm flying through it. I think that I'm not loving this one as much as the first book. I definitely feel like the first one is probably my favorite in the series. It's just perfection from start to finish, but this is still amazing. The mystery that they're investigating in this one has to do with artists and a secret sex club. So there's a lot of interesting elements going on. This book also introduces the royalty. The British royalty do play a big part in this series. I won't say necessarily how, but this book kind of introduces them into the story. So another cool feature is that you can create these really beautiful quote pages. So if you have a quote that you really love, you can save it and then create like this pretty image of the quote. My favorite quote from this book is, "You are worth 1,000 of them, Veronica." So I made this cute little quote page. I put like a little Victorian style background on it. So if you're someone who really likes to remember and save quotes from books while you're reading them, this is a really fun way to do that and be creative with it. So I didn't really update in the vlog yesterday, but yesterday I finished A Perilous Undertaking. So I hit my 100 pages for yesterday. I think I read over 100 pages, and as expected, I loved this. I think that I am ending up giving this one 4 stars. Overall, this series is like obviously one of my all-time favorites, but individually, I think that the first book was better than this one, but this one was still great. Like, can we just talk about a particular opium-induced moment that happened in this book? Because, but like, I'm just having so much fun rereading this series. I have the audiobook for the 3rd one checked out from the library, but I don't think that I'm going to start that next. Then yesterday, I didn't read any more of The Girl Who Knew Too Much because my eyesight was really bad yesterday. Basically, like with my chronic illness, I get dark spots in my vision, so even with glasses, like it doesn't even matter. So I couldn't read this physically, but I saw that NetGalley had an arc of the audiobook for it, so I requested that last night, and then I saw this morning I was approved. So I'm going to switch over to listening to this on audio. I'm really excited that NetGalley had the audiobook because I was worried that I wouldn't be able to finish this in this vlog. So this morning I was listening to it and I read up to page 157. So that was my 100 pages for today, but I'm gonna keep listening to it. I feel like I can finish this, and I'm actually really liking the audiobook. I feel like since I switched to the audio, I'm enjoying it even more. The narrator's doing a great job, and it's a lot of fun. I will say there are a lot of characters in this book, and it took me a while to like place everybody because each team has 10 players. So there's 20 players in the like game, plus like the production, the crew, the camera guys, the host, the producers, and then also like all the people from Riley's past, like her family and her backstory and stuff. So there's a lot of characters, and there's actually a team roster in the beginning. Another cool feature about the Basmo app is that you can scan pages, and not only can you scan pages of text and it will transcribe it for you, so you can save long pieces of text without having to type it, but you can also scan pages and it will save them as photographs. So I scanned a page of all of the players so that I had it like very easily accessible and I didn't have to keep like switching back to the beginning of this book. So I'm gonna do another session and read some more of this. Like I said, I definitely think that I can finish this today. Now that I'm listening to it on audio, it's going by very quickly. So I did a couple more sessions. I read for like 2 hours and I finished The Girl Who Knew Too Much. I think that I'm ending up giving this 3 stars. I had a lot of fun with it. I think that the plot was like super fun. It definitely reminded me of all of those reality shows like Survivor, The Challenge. I've been watching Survivor since season 1, and this really had Survivor vibes. There was challenges and the losing team had to vote somebody off, but then it also has that treasure hunting plot, which was also super fun and very much reminded me of Outer Banks. I will say the reason why it's 3 stars and not any higher is because I didn't care for any of the characters. And there was, like I said, there was a lot of characters, and just, it's not that I didn't like them, I just wasn't particularly interested in any of the characters and I didn't connect with any of them. I was very much here for the plot. Oh, another movie that it really reminded me of and I just kept thinking about while I was reading it is, I think it's called The Challenge, but it's that Mary-Kate and Ashley movie where they're competing against each other in like reality type of competition. It really reminded me of that. So yeah, I mean, I would still recommend this if you're looking for like a really fun treasure hunting, reality game show type of plot. So I don't think I'm going to start reading anything else tonight. Actually, my apartment complex has these like movie nights where they like set up this big screen and they show movies and they have food and stuff. And the screen is always like right outside my apartment and I can sit on my patio and watch, and tonight's movie is Elf. So I think they're gonna start that in the next like couple of hours and I wanna watch that. So I don't think that I'm gonna read any more today. So I'll come back tomorrow and we can choose another book. So I have one book left that I wanted to read in this vlog. That is The Midnight Girls. This is a YA fantasy with a female-female romance. I'm super excited. It sounds great. It says that it takes place in a snow-cloaked kingdom where two wicked rivals secretly compete for the pure heart of a prince, only to discover they might be falling for each other. Very excited to read this. This, I think, doesn't come out until the end of December, so this I'm going to be physically reading. But then I also wanted to listen to an audiobook, and basically I don't know what my favorite book of this year is gonna be. I have a couple contenders that I was having such a hard time deciding between, and the past couple weeks I have been rereading some of my like top options, and I only have one left that I need to reread before I make my final decision, and that is A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. So the first time that I read this, I physically read it and I fell in love with it. It's such a lyrical, beautiful book. It's from the point of view of one of Dracula's brides. There's an audiobook for it now, so I really want to listen to it on audio. One, because I just think hearing it and how like beautiful and lyrical it is gonna make me love it even more, even though like I already love it so much. So I'm gonna be listening to this on audio. It's a very quick audiobook. I think it's only like 5 hours. So these are the two books that I will be reading today. We'll see how it goes. Again, like I still am kind of struggling with my eyesight, so I don't know how well this one is gonna go. I might have to put it down, but I definitely will be able to read all of this today. All right, so I finished A Dowry of Blood. Oh my god, and I didn't think I could love this book any more than I already did, but somehow listening to the audiobook made me love it even more. Like, the narration was so good. And the way that this book is told is it's written as a letter from Constanza to her husband, Dracula. It's in second person, so he's referred to as you. And I just love second person. I feel like it is very hard to make it work, but when it works, it works. A lot of my like all-time favorite books are told in second person. So the letter that she writes basically chronologues her entire life after meeting Dracula and him saving her from death and turning her into a vampire, and their travels through Budapest, Paris, Berlin, throughout like a couple centuries, I think. Over that time, Dracula turns to other people and kind of creates this little harem. So there's a polyamorous relationship in here. But the biggest theme of this book is escaping an abusive relationship and the power imbalance between a vampire and their maker. One of my favorite parts about this book is that the name Dracula is never mentioned, and there's a purpose to that. She says, "You did not let me keep my name, so I will strip you of yours. In this world, you are what I say you are. I say you do not have a name." Amazing the way that like it plays with how names give something power, and to strip something of its name is taking away its power, and that is exactly what she's trying to do. This book also talks a lot about consent, specifically like consent surrounding being a vampire, and how a lot of times when vampires are turned, it's without their consent, and she's sort of like trapped in this relationship where she really doesn't have any consent or any say, and even him giving her the illusion of consent, there really isn't any because he has complete and total control over her. I love this book. I love this book so much. So then, after I finished this, I read 30 pages of The Midnight Girls, and I'm loving this as well. Like, this already is giving me 5-star vibes. However, since I am physically reading this, it's going very slowly, and I don't think that I'm gonna finish this in this vlog because I am ending it today. But I did want to give you guys an update on it because it's just like so good. I want to put it on your radar. I'm ending the vlog today because tomorrow I'm going to my parents' house, and I'm gonna be staying there for a couple weeks through the holidays. So let's go over everything that I read in this video. I think that this was a really successful vlog. I read 4 complete books. So we have A Curious Beginning, A Perilous Undertaking, The Girl Who Knew Too Much, and A Dowry of Blood. And then I read 30 pages of The Midnight Girls. I will put my page stats up here with how many pages that I read, but I completed my goal, which was to read consistently 100 pages every single day. So I'm very happy with that, and I definitely think that the Basno app helped me a lot with that because it made it so easy to just start reading sessions. Even if I was just reading for like a quick 15 minutes, it really added up. And I loved that I was able to set notifications to get every day for specific reading time. There was a couple days where I got the notification while I was already on my phone, like scrolling through TikTok, and I was like, oh, you know what? I probably should be reading right now. So if you want to download the Basmo app, I will have a link in the description. It is completely free to download, so you can try it out, do some reading sessions, and maybe attempt this same challenge of reading 100 pages a day. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!